Hi friends, I have a book I'm going to read to you today. It's called The Boy Who Was Followed Home. This is by Margaret Mahy, and it's kind of a story that I think will make you laugh about an idea that if you're going home and maybe a little animal decides to follow you home, like cute little dog or cat, you might keep it at home until you can find out where it belongs. But what about if something more different follows you home? Do you see on the title picture? Do you see what this is? If you've ever been to the zoo or read books or seen a movie, maybe you've seen a hippopotamus. The Boy Who Was Followed Home. Let's see. Why would a hippopotamus follow you home? Here's his house. It doesn't look like a farm or anything. The Boy Who Was Followed Home. One day, a small, quite ordinary boy called Robert was coming home from school. He looked over his shoulder, and there was a hippopotamus following him. Robert was surprised and pleased. Pleased because he had always liked hippopotami, and surprised because nothing like this had ever happened to him before. He's like, well, that's kind of fun. When he got home, the hippopotamus followed him up the steps and tried to come in at the door. Robert thought his mother would not like this, so he shooed it away. It went and lay down in the goldfish pool on the lawn. Look at that. I have a little pond in my yard. I can't imagine a hippopotamus getting in. What on earth is that in the goldfish pool? Asked Robert's father. Oh, it is a hippopotamus, father, said Robert. Really, said the father. People should keep their hippos chained up and not allow them to go climbing into other people's goldfish pools. You can see it here out the window. The next day, the hippopotamus followed Robert to school. Robert was working and playing all day and did not think of the hippopotamus until he went home in the afternoon, even though it's still peeking at him through the window. And then there was a rustling noise behind him. When he turned around, there were 4 hippos following him. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Robert was even more pleased and more surprised than he had been the day before. He was delighted to think that he was the sort of boy that hippopotami would follow. When he got home, the hippopotami went and sat in the goldfish pool. It was quite a big pool, but with 4 hippos in it, it seemed quite small. There are 4 hippopotami in our goldfish pool this evening, said Robert's mother. That seems like quite a few. The next day, the 4 hippos quietly followed Robert to school, but that afternoon, when he walked home, 9 hippopotami followed him and got into the goldfish pool. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they are not small animals. Things went on like this for several days. Robert's parents, who were very polite, tried to ignore the growing number of hippopotami crowding into the goldfish pool. But when there were 27 hippos jostling each other all over the lawn, Robert's father gave them a gloomy look and said, "I wonder where they come from." Well, they follow me home from school, Robert said. They like me. There seems to be only one solution for it. We'll have to get a witch to put a spell on you to make you unattractive to hippos. Robert was sorry because, as you know, he liked hippos, but he had to admit that 27 were too many for any lawn. The father looked up witches in the telephone book and selected Mrs. Kathy Squinge, who advertised children as her specialty. He made an appointment, and the following midnight, sharp on the broomstick hour, Mrs. Squinge appeared down the chimney. Those are all kind of crazy things for a witch, to appear at midnight and to come down the chimney. But do you think her magic will work? Hippo trouble, I see, she said, having counted 43 hippos on the lawn that evening. A simple pill will solve all the difficulties. Give it to us quickly, said the father, anxious to get rid of Mrs. Kathy Squinge, who was not very respectable looking. There is one disadvantage, perhaps, began Mrs. Squinge. The pill does cure people of hippos, but no buts, said the father grandly. Just give us the pill. So Mrs. Squinge passed the pill to Robert, who swallowed it down. I wonder what the problem is. Do you think they should have waited to listen, see what might happen? Let's see if it works. The pill is guaranteed, said Mrs. Squinge, but perhaps I should warn you. Enough, said the father, and shooed Mrs. Squinge up the chimney. Sure enough, the next morning the pill worked wonderfully. Although Robert seemed no different, he had no sooner stepped outside than the 43 hippopotami slunk away from him, giving him reproachful looks over their shoulders. Within minutes, the lawn and even the streets were empty of hippopotami. Robert couldn't help being a little bit sorry, as he was a boy who liked hippos, but off he went to school, happily enough. So there he goes, no hippos following him today. He played and worked all day, and at last it was time to go home. As he walked along, he turned around, half expecting to see the hippos, but there wasn't a hippo in sight. You see him there? He is little on the road. I see something else. So no more hippos following him home. But it looks like we have some tall friends coming next. And Robert was very pleased. Do you know what animal that is? With the tall neck, some orange spots, or maybe some brownish spots. Tall, a giraffe. Have you ever seen a giraffe? Can you imagine if one followed you home? That was a funny story. I hope you liked it, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.